Hello Internet, today on Locks and Some History we are going to talk about how the Royal Navy became the unquestioned powerhouse of the seas up until quite literally the aftermath of the First World War, when the naval treaty system came into place, when they decided they were going to have to share top billing with the United States. So this goes back a long time, because England, as an island nation, and their Royal Navy, has a very long history. And they really kind of began their rise during the Anglo-Dutch Wars. That's the first hyper-tough unlocked. But in the immediate lead-up to their period of dominance beginning, their top rival was the French. And the American Revolution, particularly the Battle of Yorktown, demonstrates that they were pretty much equal to the Royal Navy in terms of quality at that point. So what happened? Well, the French Revolution happened. And the officers of the French Navy were for the most part nobility, and the French Revolution wasn't particularly healthy for French nobility. So, those who weren't executed fled, or were otherwise no longer able to be naval officers. And what was left really wasn't up to the same standard as their predecessors. So when Napoleon came to power, the French Navy was simply not up to the standard it needed to be to fight the Royal Navy, which had not lost any of its edge. So, in the battle that, of course, finally cemented England's not quite as yet unquestioned dominance, but certainly superiority, was Trafalgar. Which the plan the British used to go in, the plan that Admiral Horatio Nelson came up with, probably would not have worked if the French were at their pre-revolutionary quality. Because the officers, yes, they would have been blockaded in port, and their gunnery wouldn't be as good as that of their Royal Navy counterparts. But they would have also probably put their heads together to realize, alright, we can train for close-quarter boarding actions and general naval melees, which is exactly what the outnumbered British fleet went for, on the grounds that, look, we're out here, we're better trained, we can shoot faster, and we can outmatch them one-on-one. So we'll just create a big pell-mell battle and take them on one-on-one or two-on-one, where we have the advantage. And quite frankly, after that, the French still built a lot of ships, and that's kind of why the Royal Navy kept having to fight these smaller battles and maintain blockades throughout the Napoleonic Wars, because the French just did not stop making ships, but their officers really were really not the quality they needed. This one's not behaving. We're gonna rake it. In the aftermath of the Napoleonic Wars, no one really had the economy to challenge Britain's industrial might. France kept trying. They introduced the first steam-powered ship of the line, the Napoleon, and technically they were first off the mark in terms of the ironclads as well, with the Guar. Problem is, with their inferior industry at that point, they could not produce as many steamships of the line because they couldn't make any steamships. And while their iron industry was at first better in terms of their naval armor industry, they fell very quickly behind. Which is why, all the way up to the Dreadnought race and lead up of the First World War, while Britain could not build ships fast enough to maintain their two-powered standard, i.e. having enough ships that they could fight the next two largest navies at the same time, for that, throughout history, was always their worst-case scenario. They could comfortably outbuild everybody else. In fact, in the final few years prior to the First World War, Germans just gave up trying to build with the British. It wasn't until after, where the cash-strapped UK, which could have worked around their budgets, where they could have afforded another naval arms race, and well, honestly, at that point, they probably would have won it. They just didn't have the heart in it in the immediate aftermath of the First World War, which is why the treaty system came into place. So yeah, that is how the Royal Navy became the world's largest and most powerful navy. And when they conceded that they would be co-equal, it happened with the Washington Naval Treaty in the 20s. So, that's all for now. Subscribe if you want, and most importantly, have a nice day.